There are many answers. The one that I've heard the most from analysts so far is that NextEra needs to rebalance its utility business versus its unregulated, non-regulated development business. Its development business for renewables has grown astronomically in the past few years because of demand largely from data centers. And it needs to rebalance more back to its regulated side. That's what credit rating agencies require of them. So they either needed to sell generation or buy a regulated utility.
How is AI and the need for electricity? We're seeing it all over. How is that driving this deal?
Yeah, I mean, Virginia, where Dominion operates mainly, is home to Data Center Alley, which is the biggest concentration of data centers in the U.S. And
is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Northern Virginia. And Virginia is struggling to meet that demand. And the demand forecasts for the next few years are completely outstrip what these utilities can provide at this moment in time. And that's the story across the country. And so NextEra, now being by far the biggest utility in the country once this goes through, the challenge for NextEra would be to try to provide energy for those data centers.
Wow. All right, you said they're going to create the biggest, so I'm thinking the regulators are just licking their chops here to review this deal. What are the companies saying about the regulatory hurdles they need to clear?
Yeah, there's a long list of regulatory bodies within the power sector that will need to look at this deal. Some analysts that I've talked to, though, have been pretty positive about this going through, especially from the Virginia legislature side and regulators in Virginia. Virginia really needs some help with meeting this power demand, and NextEra comes with a whole host of renewables and a lot of development and a strong utility side, and are pledging to use batteries in the area and things like that to meet demand. So the analysts I've talked to have been pretty positive from that perspective.
What do we know? I don't know that much about NextEra. I see they're a Florida company. I think this feels like the old Florida Power and Light or something like that. But what do we know about NextEra?
Yeah, so NextEra has a utility in Florida, but then also has a huge development business. It's become one of the biggest renewable energy developers in the U.S. in the past couple of years. And as I said, that demand has been proven by how big the renewable energy arm of NextEra has gotten. And this is why this rebalance is quite necessary.
Are analysts saying get ready for some more consolidation in the utility industry? Is this just the beginning? What are they saying?
Yeah, they are definitely saying get ready for more consolidation. One of the reasons is that all of these utilities are pledging to spend trillions of dollars on new generation, new transmission, basically upgrades to the grid over the next 5 years. And each one of these a new gas plant costs billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And so these utilities are striving to get bigger and bigger market caps, more money behind them, so that they can reasonably pledge all of that money that's necessary to upgrade the grid and add new generation.
I read the book called The Grid.
Ah, did you?
Yeah, so I'm all in on this stuff. Okay. But I guess one of the questions is, who's going to pay for all this? Is it going to be the ratepayers like me and you and Charlie? Well, Charlie's definitely going to pay. Or is it going to be, if Google wants this big data center, you pay for it, Google?
Yes, so that's still the major million-dollar question. But I will say that there have been certain pieces of legislation that are passed or in or being talked about right now that would answer this question. What the big tech companies have said that they are willing to pay for the new generation that's necessary to meet their demand. The question is whether or not they will pay for all of the upgrades, or whether or not some of that CapEx that these utilities are going to have to spend will trickle down to ratepayers. So far, Bloomberg did an analysis that shows that so far the data center boom has made electricity prices higher, and electricity prices inflation outpaced overall inflation last month. So,
and I would think in the metro Washington, D.C. area, Virginia, all that kind of stuff, those folks are probably pretty sensitive to that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And electricity prices are already forecast to be a really big part of the midterms this year. And so that's always going to be the backdrop of the conversation with a big deal like NextEra and Dominion.